What is going on, everybody? Jacob here with Creek Ninjas. Haven't posted anything in quite a while, and just a lot of stuff going on, working, guiding, fishing, all that good stuff. Right now, I'm currently working in Big T's fly shop with Unicoi Outfitters. He is out fishing right now with some of the guys from Semper Fly that are in town this week for the fly fishing show in Atlanta. And if you're around, come check that out. I'll probably be hanging out down there. I'm not working in a booth. I'll just be roaming around. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll probably go all 3 days, but probably won't stay the duration of all 3 days. I'll probably just kind of pop up here and there. Me and Ben have both been extremely busy. We've fished some, but we've had limited time to fish. I've been bass fishing a good bit, so I haven't really been out trout fishing as much. Not enough to make any good videos. But we've had this question a lot on the channel about our Euro leader. So I wanted to go ahead and take this time. It's a rainy day, a little slow in the shop. So I figured I'd have enough time to make this without anybody coming in. But what I'm gonna go over is the leader, what materials we like to use. Me and Ben run a very similar leader. We're on the micro leader kick, as y'all have seen from previous videos, we talk about fishing this micro leader. But I want to go over materials, sizes, and a rough length. I don't really measure out my leader when I build it. I build my new ones to just measuring out by hand with what the old one was. So they're not always exact, which I don't really care. I'm not super precise or worried about that, but I'm not going to go into detail of tying it. I just use a blood knot to connect everything. I don't know if you can see that blood knot there. It's right there, right around the door. I use the blood knot to connect everything to my sider, all that good stuff. And I'm not going to go into super detail on how to tie a blood knot. There are plenty of other videos out there that can do that, but I did want to just talk about the materials and the rough build of our leaders. So I'm using a front-facing camera, so the numbers are going to be backwards when I hold these up, but I'm using Maxima Chameleon as my butt section. Start off with 6 pound, tapering down to 4 pound. And then I'm running some Hannock bicolor cider. This bicolor cider, it's in a 5 pound size, but the diameter of it is very close to this Maxima. It's about the same size, maybe a hair thinner, even though the pound test wise is different. This Maxima is made relatively thick for a 4 pound, but I like the Hannock cider. It's kind of faded. It's not super bright, and I do lose it sometimes, but I like how it fishes. It doesn't sag a whole lot. It's soft enough that I can get good, tippet protection. It stretches a little bit, but this Maxima is stiff, very low memory. I can fish this leader for quite some time before I have to change it. And the one thing that I really like about this leader over what I was using before, which was just like a blue clear string. The string stretches a lot. This stuff does not stretch a ton, which I like. Gives good hook penetration, good strike detection. The harder, stiffer that mono is, usually the more sensitive it's going to be because it's more direct connection. You don't have the wind blowing it around as much, so it just works out better for me. One thing I want to talk about is on your fly line leader connection. When you make that knot, if it doesn't quite want to seat right, like say it looks good, but it's got like a little hump in it, or you can't quite cut it close enough, all you gotta do is put some UV knot scents over top of it, or any UV resin will work pretty good. It'll just help it slide in and out of the guides because this Euro nymphing stuff. I don't like doing the needle, threading a needle up in there and sticking that in and doing the super glue splice. I don't trust that. I fish for fish down here in the southeast on some of this private water for these big, rainbows and browns that we have. I don't trust that splice going in and out of the guides all the time. I would rather have a secured knot with some super glue, some resin, something over top of it that just ensures that that thing coming in and out of the guides a lot when you got a full load on a fish, that it's not just going to start chipping away like the splice will over time. It'll start to peel off and you'll lose that. You know, I just don't trust it. And it takes forever to thread a needle up a braid core line. I don't do that. It's just way too long, way too time consuming, and risk failing when you hook a fish for lifetime. So just tie a regular knot, blood knot, Albright knot, surgeon's knot, any kind of knot, whatever you want to do. Honestly, I definitely think an Albright knot and a blood knot's the best ones to do, but anything you do, put some super glue on it, some UV resin, you'll be good to go. So what I'm going to talk about is the length of my leader. So being a competition angler, from the knot of my fly line leader connection right there to the knot of my fly, I have to keep this thing right about 20 feet. I'm fishing a 10-foot 2-weight primarily, so I have to keep that leader length about 20 feet. Normally, when I'm fishing and I have my fly hooked right here, my leader usually sticks out just right here. So I'm typically running 10 inches, maybe a foot short than what most people would, and that just gives me the wiggle room if I want to add more tippet, if I want a deep dry drop, that I can do it within a competition and I'm not going to get disqualified or something dumb because of that. So my leader length and my butt section, I measured this out honestly using a fly rod earlier because I don't know what a tape measure is in here. I couldn't find one. There probably is, but I couldn't find one. So I grabbed a 7.5 foot fly rod off the shelf over there. This leader was about within like 4 inches of being 7.5 foot in the butt section. So I'm running about 7.5 foot of that 6 pound, and then I'm running about 3.5 to 4.5 foot of probably more like 4.5 foot of this 4 pound. And then just to the bicolored cider, just one red or orange, one green, which comes out to being about 2-ish foot long. So overall, my leader length, you're looking at between 14.5 to 16.5 foot, given on whatever I end up with. That way, so I can run my tippet relatively short if I want to, but I still have enough butt section to get a good drift. Or if I want to go deep dry dropper rig or a longer tippet or something, that I have the option to do it in a competition setting where I'm not going to get knocked for having my leader being too long. And pretty much that's about all I want to talk about in this video. Just relatively short, go over my leader setup. My tippet, I'm typically running, you know, between 2.5 to 4.5 foot of tippet, depending on what I'm wanting to do. Just trying to keep it under that 20 foot mark. If you're not a competition angler, you're not too worried about it. Honestly, you can go for whatever and you'll be fine. I will talk about one thing though. I made this leader that I'm fishing with by mistake. I was running straight 6 pound to the cider, and I went to build a leader one day and I ran out of 6 pound, and I was about 3.5 to 4 foot short. I grabbed some 4 pound, added the rest of it, added the cider to it, and at first I didn't like it because it stretched a little bit more than I liked it to. And I noticed when I'd set the hook on fish, I'd have to set and take like 1 to 2 strips like this to keep the fish from bouncing off. So I had to fish it a little differently. When I got used to it, I absolutely loved it because having that 4 pound section right here above the cider, it allowed me to still get a good long drift if I needed to, but I really loved it for fishing small flies. I could get a good drift with really light flies or a single 2.0 or a single 2.5. I could get really good drifts with it, especially in the summertime when the water's real skinny and fish are in water, you know, that's inches deep. I could still nymph to those fish really, really good using that setup. I did try to go to a straight 4 pound. I did not like it at all. It was too soft. It was too thin. It was hard to connect to the fly line. It's just so thin. And so I went back to the leader I made by mistake, and I've been running it ever since, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, with that, just wanted to put this video out there. I know a lot of y'all been asking for it, so I figured I'd fill in some info on what we use for our leaders. And I hope y'all enjoy this and hope it does y'all some good. Gives y'all some things to think on and what y'all want to do with your leader setup if y'all want to follow what we do. And that's how we run our leaders, and that's what we primarily fish with. And they work great. I've run the same leader on little fish and the same leader on the big ones that I catch on the sequoia, and it does just fine. I have no trouble. I always say if you can catch a 20-something inch fish on 6X tippet, that having a 4-pound butt section is not going to hurt you in any way. It does just fine. You can land big fish on it, small ones. It works great all around. Just takes a little bit of getting used to, and when you get used to it, if it's your style of fishing, you'll absolutely love it. But yeah, if any of y'all are in Atlanta this weekend, happen to come by the fly fishing show. If y'all see me or Ben is working at Unicoi Outfitters. He will be in the Unicoi booth Friday and Sunday, I believe. So if y'all are down there and y'all see Ben, go up, give him a shout, tell him that you like what we're doing, or tell him that he's dumb. No, I'm just kidding. Don't tell him that. He's good. He's a good dude. But tell him he needs to fish more. That's what he needs to do. He needs to fish more. But yeah, and if y'all see me out there, I'll probably be hanging around the Unicoi booth some with Ben and just hanging out and walking around enjoying the show. So if y'all see us out and about, don't be afraid to come up and say hey. And if y'all got any video suggestion ideas, let us know, and I will try my best. I know I've been slacking lately, but I will try my best to get something out there, and we will see y'all soon. And hopefully we'll get you a good video and some good content coming up fairly soon. We got a couple ideas and some places that we want to go try. It's just finding time to go when the rivers aren't blown out, because it seems to be raining a lot lately. But we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And I hope y'all have a good one. We'll see you later.